It's always been a great community. It's still a great community because it's populated by great people in the community who love Atlanta.
This is National Night Out, and we're pleased to be here in the Collier Heights, historic Collier Heights community. So we've got representatives from all of our public safety agencies here, APD, AFRD, the court system are here at this time, and we're having a cookout, but it's bigger than that. We are reclaiming the streets for the community, from the criminals. You know, you can't terrorize us anymore. You can't victimize us anymore.
We have to be intentional about rebuilding relationship between community and our police. And I think it's not just about building the relationship, but reinstilling trust back in our communities. And especially at a time where crime is at its highest we've seen in this nation, I think it's even more important that we're working collaboratively with our local police officers and our community members to help mitigate the continued rise in crime.
Anytime that a community comes together, it builds a stronger city. When neighbors talk to each other, when they talk to their elected officials, when they talk to their firefighters and police officers, it makes for a really strong community, and that's what we want to see across the city. So tonight is proof of that all of our neighborhoods are strong and vibrant, and together we can make our city safe.
It's an opportunity for them to get close up to the residents and just really show that they're human beings. You know, police officers are human beings just like anybody else. They've got feelings, and so the police love doing this. This is their time where they get an opportunity to really come together and don't have to write reports and can really talk on the same level as the citizens.
Thank you all so much.
At the heart of National Night Out, safer and stronger communities happen when we're connected. And for 17 years, Midtown Neighborhood Association has been hosting this event. Even the rain didn't keep people away. I think it speaks to the sense of community here that exists. The city's going through a challenging time right now, and connectedness and community is even more important than it has been over the last several years.
We are here because we are very encouraged, and we want our neighbors to do Citizens on Patrol, look out for one another during this crime wave here in Northwest Atlanta.
And when we talk about crime, it's more than just our police officers who, of course, put their lives on the line every day and night for us, but we have to have strong communities and strong community policing where the people know the officers and the officers know the people in the communities, and we can work together to drive out crime from our neighborhoods.
I just got through with a conversation with the Atlanta Police Department and the community, asking questions about crime and how we can make a difference. And I'm very excited about the enthusiasm from the neighborhood folks.
You see something, you what? Say something. We need to fight this crime. That's why I'm glad to see these officers out here.
This is the neighborhood that I live in, and these beautiful homes have beautiful neighbors, and they're all here to talk about public safety and to see each other. Always remember to be safe and to look out for your fellow man and take care of your police officers as they take care of us.
Historic Collier Heights neighborhood happens to be my neighborhood, and so this is always my last best stop. The rain didn't stop them. They're out here to fellowship, to meet their neighbors, to have fun with their neighbors, but also to keep cognizant and remember about public safety. Our fire department and police department always come out so the community can say thank you to them for all the great work that they do. Well, we are here because we are celebrating 10 years of the existence of Jenny Drake Park. And I'm so proud to be here as council member who represented this district. Miss Jenny Drake, who the park is named after, lived next door. She would call my office almost every other day. If a leaf fell off a tree in this park, she would call. And she was always a great caretaker, and so it's a great story. Today, the proclamation, of course, is celebrating 10 years of this park, but it's also great that it is the Juneteenth celebration, because we're celebrating not only that enslaved African Americans were freed, finally, when they had already been freed 2 years ago, but it's also freeing up this community to have a wonderful, lovely, green space where they can come and commune with nature. So all of it comes together for the good.
Today we're here in Northwest Atlanta to say goodbye to this old eyesore that has been plaguing this community for over a decade. Sierra Ridge was a drug haven, drug-infested parcel of land right here at 3202 Delmar Lane. So community members gathered here today because this is the beginning of the rehabilitation and renovation of Sierra Ridge. Over 10 years ago, there were over 300 code enforcement violations, over 300 calls to 911, and we knew that we had to do something about it. It is very important that they have a safe, sanitary environment. We will be working with the owners of this property and the developers to make sure that the quality of life for all residents exists in Northwest Atlanta.
We are here at the Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, and we're here because during our transportation meeting, we got reports of where we were now with the numbers of how Hartsfield-Jackson is coming back around, travel is resuming, and the airport is really becoming a place where everyone is feeling comfortable traveling and coming to enjoy our airport now again. And so what we wanted to do as a council is a recovery tour. So I suggested let's do a recovery tour, and that means let's look to see where we are with the numbers. Are the numbers going up? What do the processes look like? How is security looking? TSA, our concessionaires, are they easily coming back to on board and back to where they were before COVID-19 hit the whole world? And we're finding that we are absolutely recovering, and we came out to see it firsthand. We want to know, where can we help them, our airport, because our airport is our customer also. Every portion of the airport is a customer of the city of Atlanta, because we actually are responsible for running the airport, and we want to make sure that they know that we're here to help them get everything back on track.
Today we are at the East Atlanta branch of the Fulton Atlanta Library, and we are here celebrating a grand reopening. There's been renovation, some expansion, and we're just happy to say we're back in business. One of the speakers here today, we had Commissioner Rob Pitts and other commissioners, as well as the county manager. And this is a place, this is the center of our community. It's the place where you get information, and one of the things we heard today is that there's signs all over the place talking about getting vaccinated. So it's an information center, and so we're just honored and happy to be here to say East Atlanta Library is back, new and improved.
We're out here today at the Winston Boys and Girls Club down on Lakewood Avenue in Southeast Atlanta in partnership with Clover Healthcare, Hillsong, Atlanta Church, with Pastor Sam as the leader, and of course, other community partners who donated to do a back-to-school book drive. And this is probably the largest book drive that has taken place to this point in the summer. We definitely have a bounty. We're not just giving away the actual books bags, but they're chock full of supplies. Everything, papers, pencils, everything you need, rulers, stuff for school. And in addition to that, on top of that, to reward the good students who do well, we've got not only Xbox controllers, but Xbox chargers in addition to that. And people are still bringing supplies. We had targeted about 250 families. We've exceeded that. The giving has been so good that we have supplied over 250 families. We want to make sure that they are as equipped as possible so that they can tackle their academic year with verve and fervor and can make sure that they do as well as they can.
Two, three, toss.
We're here because to celebrate the groundbreaking for the first dog park in District 4, and not only in District 4, but in Southwest Atlanta, and it's right here in the Mosley Park community. So we're very excited to be here today. It's important to have a dog park for the health of the dog, as well as the health of the community. There are a lot of people that they live in inner city, so there may not be enough land, let's say for a large dog, they may not have enough land for a large dog just to run around the backyard or the front yard. And so when you have that dog park, then they can bring the dog to the park and just let them have fun with other dogs. I just really want to thank the Friends of
Everyone, this is Felicia Moore, your Atlanta City Council President, welcoming you to a special called City Council meeting for October 28th, 2021. The first item on our agenda is our roll call. Mr. Clerk.
Council President Felicia Moore.
Present, and please mute your phones, everyone. Someone is not muted. Go ahead.
Council members, Post 1 at large, Michael Julian Bond. Post 2 at large, Matt Westmoreland. Here. Post 3 at large, ANDREA Dickens. Present. Council District 1, Carla Smith.
Here.
Council District 2, Amir Faroki. Council District 3, Antonio Brown. Council District 4, Cleta Winslow.
Present.
Council District 5, Natalie Mosby Archibald.
Here.
Council District 6, Jennifer N.I.
Here.
Council District 7, Howard Ship.
Aye.
Council District 8, J.P. Matzekite. Here. Council District 9, Dustin Hillis. Here. Council District 10, Andrea L. Boone.
Present.
Council District 11, Marcy Collier Overstreet.
Present.
Council District 12, Joyce and Shepard. Quorum present.
Okay, we have a quorum of the council present. Now we will move to the adoption of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as printed.
So moved, Matzekite.
Is there a second? Second by Ms. Westmoreland. Motion by Matzekite to adopt the agenda as printed. Any discussion? Is there any objection? Hearing none, on unanimous consent of members present, the agenda is adopted, Mr. Clerk.
Unanimous consent of members present is 11 yeas, 0 nays.
11 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda is adopted. We now go to invocation. Because this is a special call meeting, we will enter into a moment of silence. Thank you very much. I do want to add at the very end of that, although we will certainly remember to bring it up at our full meeting, that we've lost a great person, Noel Khalil. Many on the council know him, know he was an affordable housing advocate, built many units of affordable housing for seniors and for others, worked very diligently with the Atlanta Housing Authority. I certainly knew him from many projects in District 9 when I represented it. And I'm sure I know we have Columbia residential properties across the city. And so I just wanted to lift his name up. He was a great man and will be sorely missed.
Also, Madam President, I would like to remember Morris Dillard, who passed at the age of 83. He was a member of the Atlanta Student Movement, worked diligently on the Atlanta Olympics, and also was a big MARTA executive. We want to always remember the life of Morris Dillard. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, this is Councilwoman Archibald. You may have heard about the horrific accident in Newton County when the bridge collapsed and 3 workers were injured. 1 was killed. The young man who was killed lived in Ashview Heights, Demario Battle. Wonderful young man. It is a tremendous, tremendous loss for the community. Demario Battle. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Archibald. Anyone else? So we also will lift up the names of those we have not mentioned today, particularly those who have suffered at the hands of agents in our community, COVID or other natural causes. Thank you all. We'll now go to the Pledge of Allegiance, if we can state it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now we have remarks by the public. And Mr. Clerk, if you can state for the members and the public the amount of time so that people are aware, and our general statement. Mr. Clerk.
Madam President, we're at item F, which is communications prior to public comment.
I'm sorry, I'm moving to that. Okay, I have Pledge of Allegiance as E, and I have, what I'm looking at is remarks by the public, which is F. And then communications after the public comment.
Duly noted.
All right, so can we go to the remarks of the public? Thank you.
The public may also leave a comment of their concerns the day before the scheduled council meeting by calling the number of 404-330-6001 between the hours of 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. Public comments for the special call meeting agenda shall not exceed 2 minutes.
Hold on 1 second. Before we start public comment, Mr. Bond, I understand you wanted to be recognized.
President. Yes, thank you, Madam President. I was muted earlier. I'd be severely remiss if I didn't add to the comments that were made for on the passing of the great Morris Dillard. As Councilwoman Boone spoke of his impact to the city of Atlanta, he was a original member of the Atlanta student movement as a student at Morehouse College. His impact and contribution in that effort was immense. Of course, he gave his career that he pursued was that of being a teacher, but of course was recruited to go and aid in the effort to have the MARTA referendum passed, and of course been a great career at MARTA. And of course, from there, because he was fluent in French, he was recruited to aid in the effort to win the Olympics and served with ACOG, during that time. But aside from that, he had so many different civic pursuits that his fingerprints are all over what we would consider the modern Atlanta that we enjoy today. But as a soft-spoken person, often was not highlighted or pushed to the front, but his works are there. And of course, he was a dear friend of my father's and a close friend and mentor to me. And, when you talk about a description of great men and great persons, he fits all of those requirements. So I was able to present a proclamation on behalf of all of us, but Saturday at his funeral at Morehouse College, and just want to again just publicly state how great he was and how regrettable his death has been. And we're a grateful city, more perfect city because of him. So thank you for allowing me to make that statement.
Thank you. And Mr. Clerk, I understand Mr. Brown is trying to get in, and so if you could please mark him as present while we technically allow him into the meeting on the phone.
I'm on, Madam President. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Okay, Mr. Clerk, if you want to start over, we'll now go into our public comment.
Again, the public may leave a comment of their concerns the day before the scheduled meeting between the hours of 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. by dialing 404-330-6001. Public comments for the special call agenda shall not exceed 2 minutes. We currently have 20 speakers with a total time of 21 minutes and 1 second. Mr. Massenberg.
This is Paul McMurray, a stakeholder in the 2021 CDP. I live at 1411 Eric Street. I wish to fully support the changes made by the Community Development and Human Services Committee at its October 26th meeting, where amendments were made at various places, one of which was the striking of the the false prediction made by the planning department that the city will grow to 1.2 million by 2050. The ARC has only said 793K by 2050. That is the appropriate amount. That was just put in there to allow hyper density, to justify hyper density development, because they made an over the top hyper growth population. I especially wish to support the changes made in the housing density and variety section, and the striking of HC41 and through HC71. Again, that's only there to support unneeded hyperdensity development. I'd also like a change in the industrial policy, which does not allow adaptive reuse of industrial property, because this is what's. Hello, I'm Chris Ferguson. I live in District 1. Calling to say I support increased density. I support increased options for missing housing in the city. I support adding back the housing density and variety section that apparently was deleted from the comprehensive design plan. Woodland Hills and Ormwood Park are prime examples of neighborhoods that have housing diversity. We have duplexes, triplexes. We have a quad. We have an apartment building. We also have $1.3 million homes. Neighborhoods are not negatively impacted by having diverse housing options. Values are not impacted. Those $1 million homes in Ormwood Park are close to an apartment building. It's fine. Same thing in Grant Park, same thing in a lot of other neighborhoods. So again, please don't bow to the single family mentality. We need density supports diversity, density supports variety of income with ages, and allow for an age in place, allow people to bring their parents in, so they can help raise their kids when they have them. There's so many good points of having diverse housing within neighborhoods. Not just within a city, but within neighborhoods, we have diverse housing options. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Deirdre Frew, and I am a resident of the Spring Lake neighborhood in Atlanta. And I just wanted to call and say thank you to the Community Development and Public Services Committee for making an amendment to the Comprehensive Development Plan that removed all of the proposals related to accessory dwelling units being included in the Comprehensive Development Plan. We in Spring Lake are very much opposed to those pieces of the Comprehensive Development Plan. So I just wanted to acknowledge the changes that were made, and thank you for removing those proposals. Thank you.
Dear Atlanta City Council, my name is Eme Akokia Ayakon, and I am not an Atlantan because I cannot afford to be an Atlantan. As my family shops around for properties in the Atlanta metro area, housing inside Atlanta city limits is essentially off limits because of decades of restrictive housing and land use policy that severely limits the kinds of housing that can be built and thus leads to exorbitant housing prices amongst the tribes that are allowed. We are in an intersectional housing, social, and climate justice crisis, and we cannot afford to maintain the development and investment pattern that increase vehicle miles traveled, increase greenhouse gas emissions, worsened urban heat island effect, worsened air quality disparities, and decreases access to affordable homes, essential neighborhood services, and a livable climate. Diverse and affordable housing types is a public health and climate imperative that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. I strongly urge the Atlanta City Council to leave the housing density and variety section in the Community Development Plan update and let Atlanta lead the charge in fostering a built environment that supports community health, well-being, and resilience in the wake of the climate crisis that is impacting us all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Scott Lang. I am a voter in East Atlanta. I understand the committee pulled the housing density and variety section out of the community development plan. Seems like an utter disaster. The sprawl and lack of density is a massive problem. This would only make it worse. So please put that section back in. Keep it in. That is my request. Thank you.
This is Sarah Mills. I'm speaking in favor of CDP 21049, thanking the Community Development Human Services Committee for the amendment that has been proposed and urging that you support it tomorrow. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Grayson Forster, and I'm calling in support of adding back the housing and density variety section of the Comprehensive Development Plan. As a high school student at Midtown High, and someone who hopes to stay in Atlanta in the future, I hope that affordability and diversity is baked into our Comprehensive Development Plan for the city to thrive in the future. And I urge all of you all to support Amir Farouki's amendment to allow the rezoning of single and double family properties within 1/2 mile of MARTA stations to MRNU to increase affordability and density in the city, which we very much need. Thank you. Hey, my name is Darren Gibbons. I live in Old Fourth Ward. I found out this week that the Atlanta City Council Committee has removed the housing density and variety section from the update to the Comprehensive Development Plan. I would like to have that section included, not removed. There were parts of that that were already included in the 2016 Comprehensive Development Plan. Taking that out completely is a huge statement against growth by City Council. The dangerous thing to do, it moves Atlanta backwards rather than forwards. Please reinstate the entire housing density and variety section for the update to the Comprehensive Development Plan. Thanks.
My name is Rahul Isaac, and I'm a resident of District 2 here in Atlanta. I'm very disappointed that the housing density and variety section has been removed from the Community Development Committee's Comprehensive Development Plan. It's absolutely essential that we increase density in all parts of Atlanta so housing affordability is increased. Otherwise, younger folks like me will never be able to afford to live in the city, and that would be absolutely terrible. I hope the council reconsiders this. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.
Hello, my name is Curtis Brown. I'm a resident of Old Fourth Ward in Atlanta. I'm calling to ask that the council revert back to the community development plan that was proposed before, featuring the Community Development Human Services Committee amended that proposal on Tuesday, October 26th. The prior version did a much better job of planning for Atlanta's needed growth, both in the conservation and the growth areas, and the amendment that it proposed will lead our ability to plan for that growth. As I'm sure we all know from the Atlanta News Design, Atlanta's poised to growth has been experiencing growth over the last decade, if not longer. And if we don't adapt our land use policies to accommodate that growth in a reasonable way, we will see high levels of displacement and a loss of much of culture and frankly the people who make the city what it is. I do want to briefly address some of the concerns that are raised about these proposals. We're talking about having ADUs, small apartment buildings, and some of our neighborhoods that have high quality access to transit. We're not talking about 5-story buildings like you see along North Avenue or in Midtown and downtown. And you'll find many of these types of duplexes and other types of housing in our existing neighborhoods already, so they are very much admired to the character of those neighborhoods. And I hope you can support amending the CDP or allowing the CDP to be approved without the amendments that are made at that committee meeting. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Jonathan Rich, and I live in Kirkwood at 242 Howard Street Northeast. I'm also a property owner in Old Fourth Ward, Edgewood, and Eastlake. And I'm calling to urge City Council to please go back to the CDP draft before the amendment put forward by the Community Development Human Services Committee. Looking at the CDP to include all the things that the Planning Commission and the city as a whole and the public have been working towards in housing abundance. we really need as much housing as possible over the next 10 years, or we are going to become a city much like San Francisco, what I call a barbell city, that will only be for the rich and the people that are below the poverty line. And we want an equitable and accessible city for all people. We really need ADUs. We really need the middle apartment buildings, general density. We really need all tools available to us to get as much housing as possible. I'm in favor of as much housing as possible for as many neighbors as possible. So please, please, please go back to that CDP. Thank you.
Hello, Atlanta City Council. My name is Carl Holt, and I am speaking on behalf of the CDP. I am against the last-minute amendment that the CDHS committee introduced that removes all the language related to enabling more people to live in existing communities and lead to increased racial diversity in neighborhoods. Atlanta is in the middle of a housing crisis. CDBCP spent years of public engagement, far longer than public engagement for the Public Safety Training Center, to draft a CDP that will increase housing supply and diversity in Atlanta. Thank you. Have a good day.
Hi, my name is Allison Grady. I live in the Old Fourth Ward neighborhood, and I'm calling to oppose the amendments that were put forward by the Community Development and Human Services Committee regarding the Community Development Plan. Those amendments are going to stunt our ability to build housing in the way that we need to in Atlanta. Obviously, members of City Council know, and many members of our city know, that Atlanta is growing, is going to continue to grow. And if we don't build enough housing for the folks who want to live here, that's going to cause a real crisis for the folks who already live in Atlanta and want to stay in Atlanta. It's going to displace many of our legacy residents, which, of course, no one on City Council wants. Growth is the responsibility, I think, of all of our neighborhoods. I also just want to say, part of the reason that we've been able to live in Old Fourth Ward is because Old Fourth Ward made the types of decisions that we should be making around density. I lived in a condo that I was able to buy earlier this year. I wouldn't have been able to buy a single-family home, and that means I get to live in this wonderful neighborhood where I can walk to the Beltline and things like that. And I think everyone should be able to have the same kind of housing choice that I had. So I do hope that City Council goes back to the original community development plan that is in line with all of the amazing work that's been done through the Atlanta City design process. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Graham Trevane, and I live in the Midtown neighborhood in District 2. My council member is Amir Farouki, and I'm just calling in to strongly encourage the City Council to go back to the original version of the CDP before the amendments were added by the Community Development and Human Services Committee to remove all of the language around zoning and housing. All of that language is really important to me as a renter living in Atlanta, someone who sees the need for Atlanta to accommodate a lot more growth than it already has, and to revise its current zoning policies that are very exclusionary in terms of housing. So I just encourage the council to revisit the previous version, because Atlanta definitely needs to accommodate a lot more growth, not just in certain small areas of the city, but across the entire city. And as a renter, I one day hope to become a homeowner in the city of Atlanta, but unless Atlanta changes the zoning policies to allow more growth, I see that that goal of home ownership slipping away. So thank you.
Hey there, this is Taylor Hendrick. I'm a resident of Eastlake. I'm also the zoning chair for the ELNCA and a regular NGO member. And I just wanted to call to say that I am very frustrated and sad to hear that the CDP is potentially losing its progression and what needs to be changed, and that I recommend you go back to the draft that was before the council, before the CDHS meeting. The changes to the CDP are incredibly, incredibly necessary. Housing scarcity is rampant in our city, and the lack of density is also rampant in our city, and we need it back as soon as possible. And these changes are doing bring that back. Watching housing be taken away and pulling up the ladder behind us is not a way to move forward for our city, a city that is known nationally and globally for its inclusion and diversity. We are losing it at an alarming rate. We haven't been able to build dense housing in the interior of our neighborhoods for 60 plus years. We have a giant missing middle in our housing types. So we need these changes. It's been obvious that these changes were coming for 5+ years thanks to the landscape design. So please do not step back away from that and know that there are tons of residents, including myself, that speak for housing, even if just barely for it. There are many that are just barely for it, but they're vehemently against it when they're just a loud minority on one end screaming at their heads off. So know that there are many of us, and if the majority of them could speak, they would speak for housing and for inclusion. And that's all I have to say. Thanks for your time.
Hi, my name is Khalil Thompson, and I live in Greenwood Park here in Atlanta. Calling just because I heard that the CDP draft was amended, and I really wanted for the CDP draft to go back to where it was before. The Community Development and Human Services Committee put forth the changes. It's really important that we have housing options for everybody in the city and that we have equitable housing for folks in Atlanta, and that the middle class and lower class aren't squeezed out of our city. And we want to ensure that we work proactively to provide more housing to include more people in Atlanta's bright future. So just want to leave that. Again, my name is Khalil Thompson. I live in Greenwood Park. And yeah, that's it.
Hi, this is Callie Rich from Kirkwood at 242 Howard Street, 30317. I'm calling to request that you do not honor the amendments proposed by Matt Westmoreland to the CDP plan. And I am for more housing options in Atlanta. So I'm vehemently opposed to these amendments. Thank you.
Good evening. This is Reginald O'Neill. I live in the Kirkwood neighborhood of Atlanta, 87 East Lake Terrace. I'm calling in to comment and just to say that I am absolutely against this amendment that Matt Westmoreland has introduced for the comprehensive development plan. I don't see why we don't have a more dynamic CDC that promotes more housing for everybody, for more families. It seems a little backwards in terms of how we're trying to grow our city, and a little disappointed that Matt is suggesting this. So again, I believe in more housing, more density. I mean, it's what we need. That's how we're going to grow best. So I'm absolutely against this proposal that Matt Westmoreland has put forward. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marty Hendrick. I am a resident of East Lake, and I would love for City Council to leave the housing density and variety section in the Community Development Plan update. We believe that there needs to be more housing and more density, so would like for that to happen. Thank you, and have a good day.
Greetings, council members and staff, and special greetings to you citizens of Atlanta, monitoring your government in action as we speedily head towards the election. Ben Howard, Senior Advocate, Public Policy Analyst. Why is it that 21-0-0671 CDP Plan A was not hotly debated at a neighborhood planning unit or meeting by the thousands of residents and stakeholders of NPURs? Because debates and discussions tend to increase NPUR attendance, and the NPUR 9 just won't tolerate any increase. The NPUR 9 knows that once people understand the comprehensive development plan and how their lives are impacted by it, those same people may want to start attending neighborhood planning units regularly to express their voice and their vote. The NPUR 9 further understands that once people get to NPUR meetings, they'll probably want to be vocal about other critical matters. In addition, to the CDP, and controlling those residents who could become even harder for the NPUR9. Let the people participate. Vice Chair Antonita Robinson, Colin Clare, Ricardo Jacobs, Alvin White, Jeanette L. Scott, Allison Hathaway, Cheryl Brown, Jerry Williams, and you NPUR9 cohorts and supporters. Let the people attend, participate, and talk about let the people participate and talk about the CDP.
All right, thank you. That was our last public comment. Have any members joined since the roll call? Have any members joined since the roll call? All right, doesn't sound like it. So now we'll move on to communications. Mr. Clerk.
21-C-0152. A communication from Council President Felicia Moore calling a virtual special call meeting of the Atlanta City Council on Thursday, October 28, 2021 at 10 a.m. to consider 21-0-0671. Staff recommendation to accept and file.
Staff recommendation to accept and file. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, Matskai. Second, Brown.
Motion by Matskai, second by Brown to accept and file. Any discussion? Any objection? Hearing none, on unanimous consent of members present, Mr. Clerk, it will be accepted and filed.
Unanimous consent of members present is 13 yeas, 0 nays.
13 yeas, 0 nays. It's accepted and filed. We'll now move to H, legislation for consideration. And I will call on Mr. Matt Westmoreland to entertain, bring the item before us.
Sure. President, thank you. Item H is 21-0-0671. An amended ordinance by the Community Development Human Services Committee adopting the 2021 City of Atlanta Comprehensive Development Plan is the official comprehensive development plan for the City of Atlanta, Georgia, in compliance with the requirements of the Georgia Planning Act of 1989 and for other purposes. This comes to the body amended through TJ's Community Development Human Services Committee, and I will make a motion to adopt.
There's a motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Second, Matskai.
Second by Matskai. Motion by Westmoreland to adopt. And this is as amended out of committee. Any discussion?
This is Councilwoman Archibong here. I have a question for Mr. Westmoreland, and this is for the public's benefit. The amendment to the CDP is something that we can do at any point after we approve and adopt this version of the CDP. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I'll expand a little bit. The comprehensive development plan has to be updated every 5 years, every 3 to 5 years, and our timeline for doing so expires on October 31st for us to retain our certification as a qualified local government. And so, hence today's meeting. You are familiar that we introduced a resolution to committee on Tuesday that passed unanimously and will be on Monday's consent agenda, outlining the intent of the City Council to continue making revisions where appropriate to this document. There has been an unprecedented amount of feedback, 2,500 voicemails, 1,100 emails, a letter signed by 16 NPU chairs expressing a variety of concerns or suggestions, and we will certainly continue to have that conversation in accordance with the rules outlined by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. And so know that that will continue, but it is important for this action to take place before October 31st so we can retain our certification.
Thank you for that clarification. I'm getting a number of emails and text messages. People aren't aware of what we've done that at the committee level, and when it's
action item on Monday, that will certainly shed more light on it, but I really appreciate the clarity that you just provided. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, the motion is to adopt. Let's open the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Dickens, yay.
Hold on one second. Mr. Bond, how do you vote?
Is this on the paper as amended?
Yes, sir. It's the final adoption.
My vote is nay.
Okay. Mr. Brown?
Nay.
Okay. Ms. Winslow?
In favor?
Archibald?
Yes.
Aye. Miss I. Hillis?
Says aye.
What did you say, Miss? Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Miss Shepherd?
I texted to say she got knocked off.
Okay. Would someone let her in so we can get her vote? Miss Shepherd? Okay, I think, hold on one second. Give me 1 second, I just saw a text come through. Mr. Brown, you're there, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and you voted no.
Yes.
Miss I, did she make it back on? Could someone let me know if Miss Ida is waiting to get back on? Hold on 1 second. Miss Ida has not tuned back in. Miss Ida, if you're listening, if you could let me know your status before we close the vote. Okay, let's wait on Miss I, but so that we can be updating the system. All of the votes are cast in the affirmative with the exception of Mr. Bond and Mr. Brown in the negative. So we can populate those votes and hope Miss Ide is able to get back on. So I'll wait a few seconds while that's being done. Hopefully she'll get back on. If not, we'll have to move on.
I'm
You
sorry,
there?
I'm over.
There you are.
I'm here. And
How do you vote?
Yes. Yes.
Your vote is in the affirmative?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Miss I, please cast her vote in the affirmative. Thank you.
Thank you.
If everyone will please wait, they're populating the votes now.
The vote is now closed. 12 yeas, 2 nays.
12 yeas, 2 nays. It is adopted. All right. Hold the vote up for the public for a little bit. And while we're doing that, Mr. Chair, was there any other items, or that was the only item that was outstanding?
That's the only item, Madam President.
Thank you very much. We now will go to general remarks. Are there any general remarks?
Madam President, I would like to make a statement.
Sure, go ahead.
I just want to say I appreciate the work that has been done to move the comprehensive development plan forward through council. I personally believe in housing diversity in our communities and the need for diversity to ensure we have the tax base and even the financial capacity to sustain the needs of the city. I also believe that great policy around development and zoning is critical to solving the issues of housing.
and more importantly, the affordable housing crisis that our city is currently in. I also support the amendments put forth by Councilmember Westmoreland, and I appreciate the tireless work by my colleagues to get this done. But the reason I voted no was because we must push back on reactive processes that cause council to have to rush through votes to meet a deadline. We've had more than enough time to address this long before now. And lastly, our communities, 11 neighborhood planning units, remain in opposition of moving this forward without additional community input. And that's why I couldn't consciously vote in support of it. But I appreciate all the work of Councilmember Westmoreland and everyone else to move this forward. And I understand that we had a deadline to make this happen. So thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Any general remarks? Hearing none, Mr. Clerk, let's go for the adjourning roll call, please.
Council President FELICIA Moore.
Present.
Council members Michael Julian Bond, Matt Westmoreland. Here. Andre Dickens. Here. Carla Smith.
Here.
Mayor Faroki.
Bond is here.
Brown.
Here.
Please mute your phone. Someone needs to mute their phone. Go ahead, Mr. Clerk.
Rita Winslow.
Present.
Natalie Mosby Archibald.
Here.
Jennifer N.I. Howard Shook.
Aye.
J.P. Matsakite. Here. Destiny Hillis. Here. Andrea L. Boone.
Present.
Marcy Collier Overstreet.
Present.
Joyce M. Shepard. Thank you.
Mr. Bond is present.
Mr. Bond is present. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Matsakite.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Matsakite, second by Bond to adjourn. Without objection, we hereby are adjourned. Thank you all.